Hello and welcome to the news for February 24th, 2017. Before we get started with the news for this week, I need to apologize and make a correction about the Razer Blade update that I covered last week. You can see the video over here. In it, I said that the Razer had made a weird decision in downgrading their screen resolution of their newly updated laptop. What I missed somehow is that the Razer Blade has always had a default 1080p screen, and the change was an upgrade option. Before, the upgrade was to a QHD Plus display, and now you get a 4K display. Thanks to listener Ali for letting me know, and my apologies to Razer about this blunder. And with that out of the way, let's get right into the news. Actually no, let's continue talking about news from previous episodes because some related things have come up and I wanted to cover them without having to go into full detail. In the news from February 10th, I covered the Apple Campus 2 construction progress. You can see that video over here. This week, the new HQ has finally been officially named. It will be called the Apple Park and it opens for business next April. The theater in the grounds will also get an official name. It will be called the Steve Jobs Theater in honor of Apple's co-founder who died back in 2011. Another important piece of news is related to something that I covered during the first episode of the news. Back then, I mentioned that one of the missions that SpaceX had planned for this year was their test of their Dragon 2 capsule, which is designed to carry humans into space. The launch was historic, as they were testing what will probably be one of the main human transports to and from space in the next decade. The launch was completed successfully, but an error in the computers delayed the docking with the International Space Station. But 2 days later, the docking happened and the 2 tons of equipment were delivered successfully. Okay, now we can get into the news, which unfortunately are a bit sad this week, so bear with me. I will try to end in a more upbeat note. This week, Susan Fowler, an engineer that used to work at Uber, published an article describing her experience during the year she worked there. The story is filled with horrible behaviors including sexism and sexual harassment that were ignored by the management and even human resources. I definitely recommend that you go and check the article if you're interested. It's linked on the video description. The article generated so many waves that Uber CEO has ordered an independent investigation led by former Attorney General Eric Holder. Uber has been in the spotlight in the last few months in similar controversies related to the way they treat their drivers and how they reacted during political protests in the US. I'm sure they will continue making the news in the following months due to this investigation, but hopefully this marks a turning point in the way they treat their woman engineer and other minorities. And continuing with the sad news, this week we heard about a game streamer that died during a 24-hour charity stream. Brian Vignault was streaming to raise funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and had stepped out at the 22-hour mark to take a smoke break. When he didn't return to the stream, his viewers thought he had fallen asleep, but the next day one of his friends tried to contact him and the response came from the police that they were investigating his death. The police has not revealed the cause of death. In recent years, the rise of streaming as a form of entertainment has made it almost a requirement for streamers to extend their work hours to achieve and maintain notoriety. Hopefully people at Twitch and other streaming services are using this tragedy as a chance to make changes so that they encourage streamers to have a more balanced lifestyle. Nobody wants this to happen again. Well, and that's the sad news for the week, so let's move into something less terrible. If you're a computer enthusiast or if you've been listening to the previous episodes of the news, you should know that AMD has been getting closer and closer to launching their new Ryzen CPU line. Well, now the wait is over. This week AMD officially announced the first set of CPUs in this new lineup, and they look very interesting. The whole product line will be very similar to Intel's Core lineup. Ryzen will have 3 tiers. R7, which is the tier that's launching this week, is the high end of the line. Then R5 and R3 will be launching later this year and represent the middle and low end of the line. 3 products were launched this week. The R7 1800X running at 3.6 GHz and a boost speed of 4.0 GHz will retail for $499. The R7 1700X runs at 3.4 and boosts to 3.8 and will cost $399. And finally, at the low end of this line is the R7 1700 that runs between 3.0 GHz and 3.7 and it will cost $329. AMD is claiming that their new CPUs offer a better price to performance ratio than Intel's offering. The 1800X and the 1700X outperform both the Core i7 6900K and 6800K, which are some of the top processors on Intel's high-end lineup. The new CPUs will be available for purchase on March the 2nd and are available for pre-order right now on many retailers, including Amazon. Check out the video description for links to all of them if you are interested in pre-ordering one of them. As I mentioned on last week's The News, this seems like the flame under Intel's bum that we've been waiting for. Hopefully it works. Now let's switch from hardware to software. This week Microsoft confirmed at their Ignite conference in Australia that a new update to Windows 10 is coming later this year and will include a visual refresh called Project Neon. The new user interface will continue the trend of flat design and typography, but it will include a little bit more of translucency and shadows, which should make the design a little bit more interesting. Alright, let's close the news with an item that isn't really news, but I found very interesting, fun, and actually very creepy. The Edges to CAD tool was created by Christopher Hess and uses Google's TensorFlow machine learning project to convert line doodles into machine-generated CADs. It sounds ridiculous, and it is, but I couldn't help myself and I drew a couple of attempts to see what it produced. So with further ado, I present to you the cat chicken and the hairy alien. So that's all the news I got for you this week. I hope you found them interesting and not too depressing. Please hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Send me your creepy cats. This is Joaquin signing off. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.